All right. I found something out in this break. So I had an appointment and I'm going to do this old style. Okay. And I'm going to start with the thing that I found out during break. And then we'll continue. Also, someone said it much more boldly, the correlation between Ryle and Ryan Reynolds, than I was going to. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, hopefully everyone's safe and good. It's so nuanced to me because I don't know these people. And she has such a strong history, Blake does, of a lot of things herself. So, gosh, I don't know. Am I like, I feel like I'm this way. Sorry if I am. Sorry if I'm not like straight. But I found this post. Remember that when Blake filed her complaint, Justin lost an award. It got taken back, and his was it co-host or producer, co-producer of his podcast Man Enough, Liz Plank, bowed out in support of anyone who comes forward with such claims and so forth. I think that was, to me, it wasn't, Blake's not right. She's not telling the truth. And I still don't know that. I think she's telling some truth. I don't know. I don't know. That whole side of things is like just so murky at this point to me. A lot of people have like, no, she was lying and she made that up or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know about that. As far as the scene that we saw, 100% he wasn't doing what she claimed that he was doing, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. But the rest, I don't know, because we don't have one way or another receipts, right? There's a whole history. Again, think of the pattern. It's really important to think of the pattern. It's really important to think of the whole history of a person, not just one moment. However, and that goes both sides, right? What's her name again? Oh gosh, because her Instagram is Liz Plank. Her Instagram is not her name. The word and Liz pulling out of the podcast to me looked like, ooh, he might not be guilty because the word was pulled out from simple claims that were not at that time or at any time proven to be true. And that is dangerous. That is dangerous on any of the side, right? Because think of someone who is an abuser who, sues someone, gets ahead of that, of what they did, etc. Like, think of that, which some argue, and I would kind of be in that, like, this is kind of screaming that way too. But think of that happening. Think of like a man doing that to a woman, because I think gender plays still so much into this. Think of a man doing that to a woman and accusing her of what he did, or I don't think Blake did what she claims Justin did. It's like it's an example, not exactly directly example, directly similar, and then everyone believes him. We all talk about like everyone believes the man. I don't think that's true nowadays, but we all talk about that, and we don't want that. We don't want bias. We don't want to have that bias. So it's really important. This is why, like, yes, there needs to be proof. It's really important to not just like believe any claim, because anyone can make a claim, but was it documented? I'm not even, again, talking about proof of like footage, because you don't always have that or anything like that. I'm talking about documentation. Like, and that's the thing, like in court, this is what needs to happen. They're not going to be like, well, she said this, he said this, so she's right or he's right. It's so important for all of us to do this. When an establishment takes back an award simply because something came out because he was sued. Yes, that didn't look good. And me and this other friend and a lot of people, and they are starting to speak up. And I remember watching so many videos on YouTube of people saying, ooh, like he's a creep. I didn't think that because I had seen so many years of him being in front of my screen on YouTube, on like Jane the Virgin, etc. But I thought like, oh yeah, he probably is guilty, because who would file something legal if it wasn't true? I also to be honest, my personal opinion, and I'll say this now. I think I've said it before. I've alluded to it, but I guess my stance right now is that she did not lie. She took facts. Again, still, I don't know if she misread them in the moment, Like we saw, because that was my impression with what we saw in the video footage that we saw when there was the "it smells good" comment, and she seemingly got uncomfortable. I think there's two reasons. If that's what we saw, there's two reasons, no, three reasons. My first thought was she felt bad. It did smell. He said it smelled good, but then she maybe felt, like self-conscious about it. That's what it came across to me. It could be that she took that comment and heard it as creepy as she later put it in her complaint and lawsuit. We heard that it wasn't. And let's at least say that's a fact, because we heard that it wasn't. There's another moment in the video where you could say he said this like "ooh" at one point. I was like, "Oh, wow." So that you could latch onto. But when he said it smells good, that 100%, listen to your ears. Like, you don't need anyone to tell you anything but like what you're listening to. Does she have trauma in her past, or does she have something around intimacy? It could just be intimacy of just intimacy, because people underestimate the intimacy power of like just staring at someone or being close and being flirted with. Or the more we find out about this side, was she worried about her husband seeing that? Her husband and her are both actors, and they've been actors long before they met each other. You would say they understand, they know how that goes. She also has a very clear background history of dating her co-stars, falling for them. And maybe she fell for more co-stars than she dated, Even, without everything else that we've heard about Ryan, like that is an insecurity. That's a fair insecurity. Even though they have kids and all that stuff, if they're not connected enough, if they're not like really like established that trust with one another enough, that can pop up, right, in someone's mind. And that's fair. And it's fair even if they did create that trust and it still pops up. It's fair to have an insecurity, and it's fair to like have. I think that's what people misunderstand with jealousy. I think people like, oh, it's healthy to be jealous if you really care about someone. This always happens when I'm like talking. But no, I think people are referring more to like insecurity, or I don't know. I think we need another word, because I personally don't see that jealousy is ever healthy. It can be normal, but I don't think it's healthy. But yeah, you can be like, "Ooh, I really like them. I hope they don't like someone else, or I hope they stay with me." Like that's just so natural, right? But was it more than that? Was it that because he has a documented history of control? Sorry, jealousy is what I meant. How he was jealous of Scarlett Johansson. She said that she said something, and then I don't remember exactly, but I think it was like a podcast interview with someone, Chelsea Handler. I don't know. It was another female. They divorced when she was at the top and making way more and being way more influential, powerful, popular than he was. And whether she directly referred to that, or I remember there was a direct correlation with those two, and I don't remember how it came about, but he dates younger women. He's known to have control, whether issues or just like to be very controlling, not just with women, just in general. He is known to have jealousy, and also he makes jealous comments. I saw that extremely cringing interview that he made with Brendan Sklenar for The Ends With Us, and I wanted to get into how inappropriate that was for this topic in this movie, to make that kind of joke, kind of mimic Ryle's character through him. Don't remember Wolverine's name. I used to know. I know I can look it up, but we have so much to talk about. And with Ryan's own mother, like, it was uncomfortable, it was unnecessary, and it was highly inappropriate. Like all of that. And like I feel like this movie deserved a lot more gravity and to be taken a lot more seriously and to have a lot more respect. And the victims and the survivors needed a lot more respect than that. But also look at that interview, because I just saw it today, and what exactly it's about. It's about like, it was doing kind of like what he did with TJ Miller in Deadpool, or what TJ Miller claims or says. I don't know if that scene ended up in the actual cut or maybe not. But also it's highly believable. And again, I haven't really seen Deadpool, but Deadpool has plenty of those without that one particular scene. It has other scenes. Thing that like I just found out is the connection Liz Plank, we're tying it back, has with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. This is a post. I just fell asleep on the laptop. This is a post. This is so old school. I know I'm like, I used to be so much more techie, and I'm going to literally just show you my screen of this post. And I know I can screenshot it and put it over here. So this post reads, behind every great project, there's a woman behind the scenes giving essential notes, and if you're lucky enough, it's Blake Lively. Comma, enough, comma. I don't know. It's just like driving me crazy. People like forgetting commas because it changes the meaning so much sometimes. She's a fiercely talented, compassionate, and clever creative mind I've been blessed to get to witness in its full, impossibly cool glory. The Adam Project isn't just a must see, powerful film about fatherhood, deep inner child work, and fancy jets. It's the first movie that launched with Blake and Ryan's group effort initiative, a diversity campaign that gives paid on set training opportunities for BIPOC and other marginalized communities at any stage in their career, with a special focus on those who are trying to get their foot in the door in the entertainment industry, which is interesting. It's interesting. Vancity Reynolds, so Ryan, offered to pay for the trainees out of his own salary and their housing during the Adam Project to do the magic of this movie. So the magic of this movie is not just the dazzling performances you see on screen. Trust me, wear waterproof mascara, blah blah. Anyways, you can read the rest. This was posted on March 1st, 2022. There was something, check out Dana's, she said Donna when she introduced herself. Check out her live today. I'll link that below where she goes into it. I know it's long. I'll try to link the exact time stamp of it. But yeah, she talks more about this and so forth. How Liz Plank introduced Ryan Reynolds to the one show he was on. I know nothing about Ryan Reynolds. I know so little. So yes, you could say, why are you even talking about him knowing so little of him? I'm just relaying what I hear and what I hear from reputable sources. But yeah, no. I'm not saying any of it is true. I don't know. I'm saying that it's true that I heard this, but I'm not saying that what I heard is true. That's for all of us. Like I am in this with you the same way. Like I'm trying to figure it out and I'm trying to like make sense of this and put the puzzle together. That's like what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I feel like the reason why I primarily do these videos and release them is that maybe we don't always hear all the pieces. So, if I hear a lot of people not talking about something, like I want to go through my 10-hour video of the lawsuit, of reading Justin's lawsuit, and pull out that was my intention. And then it was like news, this happened, this happened. Yeah, it was like a lot. Hopefully we'll get a little break over the weekend and I can do that, because there were things that stood out to me that we haven't really heard that many people mention. But I think because it's like news all the time, something new, and people latched on to certain things, that I want to say that some people's commentary, even, excuse me, on the BTS footage, it's a little like, hold your horses. Like, you're trying to make your point in a more powerful way than it needs to be made. Just because, like, you might be right doesn't mean that you have to dramatize all of this the way that some people have dramatized it. And I've done that through some of these videos too, because when, especially if you're just reacting to it, but I feel like for them it's like they're like, I need to sound a certain way for the audience. That's what the audience asks of me, is to be like big and super double down on whatever side is wrong. And you can have like, hey, this side is wrong, and not like double, triple, quadruple on it. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because they started the movie. When did they start the movie? Like around that time, I think. It seemed like they knew each other before the movie, because they went back. Yeah, right? I'm like, what year are we on? We're in 2025. So he acquired the rights in 2019, I think. Blake signed on December 2022, I think. So did Liz introduce, I can't even say it because it's going to be like taken seriously. Or, I mean, because it could be seriously, but like part of me is like, do I say it in case people like haven't thought of this possibility? Or like, do I not say it because it's a big claim too, but yeah, did Liz introduce Justin to Blake and Ryan and just made that kind of happen through very compelling presentation of, I don't know, I don't understand. I really don't understand. I really don't understand why Blake signed on to this. Someone else pointed out, I don't remember if it was Dana or someone else. No, it was Bohemian Diva. Going through Blake's discography, filmography, she's really not been involved in like highly intimacy scenes, and especially like with no clothing on, and so at all. And so like, why did she sign on to this? Whether because she has traumas from her past that it wouldn't be a good idea, or because she doesn't feel comfortable because she isn't that kind of actor. Like, and it's fair. No one needs to do those scenes if they don't want to do those scenes and be in those movies. But this movie, why was she on it? It doesn't make sense why she was in wanting not only to be in this movie, but also why did she want to take over the movie and turn it into exactly what Colleen Hoover said to Justin in her email she didn't want the movie to become. But they edited it together, and that's like a point that I want to get to. This was on the list here, and it just flowed into that without even trying. I didn't even plan that. But yeah, so in this one video below, is this the third link below or something? I lost count. But in this one interview video, this actually came from answering my the comments in the comment section from you guys, and I forget which one, but mentioned, I don't know, but they mentioned like this is the big interview where she's asked like, we heard that you were the intimacy coordinator on the set, Blake, and she's like, oh really? Where have you heard that? Talk about uncomfortable. And she wasn't uncomfortable because she was being, done anything to other than kind of revealed. You might argue differently, but anyways, I feel like even Colleen was uncomfortable around like after that. Yeah. Anyways, Blake said basically like, oh no, blah. She went around the question like, how do I want to answer this question? What can I say? Whatever. And this is paraphrasing, literally paraphrasing. I don't know, that she had her hands in pretty much everything but that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I can't make like, I can't be expressive enough as much as I feel. Like, what? She had another interview, by the way, and this I don't think it was on my list, but just for a second because I remembered, where she said that she fortunately never experienced what Lily experienced in any kind of way, and maybe she was taking it a little too literal to exactly those like scenes that we saw, and she didn't think SH was that too, like her instances, or maybe they didn't happen. Like, I hate to say this right now, but maybe they didn't happen, and how awful would that be because of how legal it is now for her. Like, and again, I didn't watch Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial or any of that, and I guess maybe that was kind of a similar thing. She like claimed some things, but did she ever claim like actual things that didn't happen? Although again, I think the list happened, but it was like, I moved the camera here, and then the other person, you tossed the camera over there, but you literally just like picked it up and placed it. I think that's kind of what those claims are. The reason behind those claims being made, that's also debatable. Was it Ryan? Was it to save face with Ryan? Was it to like save like just like other issues in the household with him? Was it because a lot of people, I don't see her crushing on Justin. I don't see it, but we only saw one clip. I don't see it, and I also don't see their chemistry. I see two independent actors acting independently, trying to act together, but they're not really together. That's what I see for almost all of it. Maybe I'm clouded by like what's happened now, but at that time, like I remember like the whole movie didn't impress me. It was like all over the place, but not in the good way. And it didn't have the meaning of the message. Yeah. Anyways, but it's interesting, right, that she said she didn't have any similar experiences that she could relate to her with. And then this was in the press tour after the premiere, or like leading into the premiere after they filmed the movie. And after that list came out, or, got sent out or whatever to Justin and to Jamie and whoever else. So isn't that interesting? But yeah, to this one particular interview. So she admits that intimacy coordinator was the only thing she didn't have her hands in. I want to hear people's take on, well, she did that because she had SH done to her. I want to hear the logic of that. I want to hear the logic of that. If you're that powerful, you wouldn't have that long of a list before you enact your power. Because I mean, she overtook the whole movie. She had her hands, she did everything on the movie, she says. Screw art directors, screw editors, screw wardrobe, which also is under art direction, I learned. Screw like everyone. Screw the director and the, producers, and she did everyone's job. And one, besides this one quote, also in this interview, she said she took over music and all that. She says that this set was built for her to entice her to do these press tours or whatever, because she just wants to be at home in her living room on the couch. Why aren't you there? And I don't mean that as condescending or as mean or whatever, as so many people say. You have so much money and you have so much fame that you can just be an influencer with your brands and that's it, and go to premieres and all that, and you will be fine. Why not just do that? You have 4 kids. I'm sure they would love for you to be home. If that's true, why not do that? She doesn't need to do this. And she didn't even want to be on this movie. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand any of this. But yeah, to that bit, that's like towards the end of that interview. And she says that's why. And okay, it's a joke, but it's a big joke, because it's really either outing you as, everyone caters to you and you have that much power and you are that special and no one else gets to be that special but you, and everything's around you, and this whole movie is around you. It's not about the movie and it's not about the survivors and everyone, it's about you. Or it's just a bad joke. It's a bad joke, but I feel like that's absolutely true. How enticing me or whatever. Maybe that's how she presented it to them too. Because I think she can be very charismatic, and I think she can say things whether jokingly or I think she knows exactly how to say things to make you do what she wants and like it, like want to do it for her, as if as if it comes from you. I think that's what this is like unveiling. And this is why, to me, this is such a dangerous case potentially, because so many people, especially because of the gender and the gender roles, are missing this stuff. But that, and there's 2 other things in that. The music, I thought today, I was like, how ironic. Because she used My Tears Ricochet, right? Beautiful song. Oh, I love that, especially the whatever pond. It's haunting. I love singing because it just like places really well with my voice. I just love that song, and it's so sad and so tragic and so beautiful and so grown up. Like, I didn't have it in myself to go with Grace. It's just beautiful. It's so beautiful. Forgot completely my point, so I'm adding it as the editor, Rena the editor. There's a line in the song that she used for this movie by Taylor Swift, My Tears Ricochet, that says, "And if I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too." Khaleesi, right? I'm gonna send my dragons on you. That's what's happening right now. And I think, like, did Blake listen to that song? Did she know what the movie is? Because I don't think that song doesn't fit. Like, think about that, because to me that's like is it the premise? What is that word of the whole song? The theme of the song is, I didn't have it in me to go with Grace. I didn't have it in myself to go with Grace. I forget. Anyways, that is like the theme, the essence of that song. It didn't apply to any of the characters, not from what we saw, not from the movie that we saw. It didn't apply. And seeing that trailer and with that song, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like, I was excited to like see this movie that I didn't know about the book, and I didn't, but I thought, wow, maybe finally a good movie that like gets into the nuances and powerful. I was expecting powerful, and this was nothing but this was a Chihuahua. Whoever put the movie together, and I'm sorry, like I to Justin, like I am a fan and I support him as far as like filmmaking, and I support him a lot through this. Clearly, I'm sorry if this was you, but I don't think it was because I also saw a clip where he got like survivors into the conversation. We saw a clip where they were going through the script and giving him notes. Like, hello, why is no one talking about that? Talk about like a PR thing. He's not even doing a great job with the PR. That should have been before this whole complaint and legal battle even happened. That should have come out again. And it did, but it wasn't highlighted. That should have been like prime center. But, anyways, the way the movie was cut and maybe even changed as far as script was a Chihuahua. And I was expecting a lion roaring with that song, because that song is like so tender, so like quiet, but it's powerful. Idea of the movie, the message, the type, the tone, the theme, and the way that these people ended up walking away from each other, like having the generational trauma and generational patterns, them deciding to break it, or even her deciding to break it. That's powerful. You missed that so much. And if it was Blake, it seems like you were worried so much about having fun and making this fun and hair care and grab your florals and grab your friends and whether or not it had alcohol, your drink line and all this stuff. It's so when you see so much of her press is like so displaced from this movie. It's almost in line with the movie that she made, but not even with that, because I mean the story is still the story. So this next part is where she outs herself even further for taking over the movie, because she talks about like, yeah, Colleen was in the editing bay and she was like, she pulling herself out of the writer self and she could like see what needed to be done or changed for the movie and all this stuff. I wonder if Colleen realized, wow, she manipulated me through that whole process. Like, now I see that she was telling me, like, don't you like this scene better this way? And I believed her and I saw it and I went with it. And Justin probably feels the same. Like, oh, yeah, thinking like he was getting useful and valid and really thought out, thoughtful female gaze feedback from Blake when he wasn't. This was not the actress that he should have listened to or been on the set with. And maybe I'm wrong, and he knows better than any of us as far as all those notes, right? And maybe she had. Maybe like Liz talks about, like she is really insightful. Empathy, I no, she doesn't have empathy, not to that extent. We can see how she yells at people for the hairpin thing. We can see, I mean, and I'm just being like mean as far as like dragging that one in, but we can see how it's not that she has a lack of empathy, but she doesn't have that empathy to the level that he's portrayed her to have. He was just being nice. 0 minutes. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. 4 o'clock. And the way that Blake talks about all of this, 100% she talks like a director and a producer, like not even a producer, a director. She talks like it was her movie. And that is chilling. And of course, like no one kind of noticed it probably at that point, but like it's not your movie. It's not your movie. I mean, it got turned into her movie. She took it over, but like